Who else is on the call? Got Darcy on the call. Hey, Darcy. Risky. Eva M. Hello.
Hello, hello.
Hello. Jade. Hi. Oops.
All right, we should be live.
Okay, great. So it's 5 p.m. on the dot here in Jakarta. We're still waiting for some people to join, so we'll just wait a couple of minutes. Thanks for the Zoom backgrounds, Emily. Okay, so if your name is not written out in full on the Zoom, can you please rename yourself so that we can see who you are? All right, we'll start the proceedings in 1 minute, so at 5:03. Okay, let's get started. So thank you all for joining. Just a reminder, if you have joined the Zoom call and you don't have your name written out in full, can you please rename yourself so that we can see who you are? If you could keep your video on so we can also see your faces, that would be really good. This Zoom session is also being live streamed, so there are a number of people watching via the YouTube live stream. And if you have chapter members or chapter committee members who would like to watch this, please direct them to the YouTube live stream, which is in the WhatsApp chat. So thank you everybody for joining. It is both a really happy and also a little bit of a sad day that we have our 2023 AIYA National Annual General Meeting. Happy because we're welcoming in a new batch of fresh faces to the board of directors at AIYA, but a little bit sad because it means that those of us who are not continuing our terms will say goodbye to AIYA, including myself. So just a quick overview for today. The agenda will be just a brief address from myself. We then have a secretary overview, a finance overview by the finance team, partnerships and memberships, communications, operations, and then NILA. Each of those overviews will go for no more than 5 minutes. And in fact, we'll probably aim to keep them less than 5 minutes. Following that, we'll have nominations and voting. So for those candidates who have nominated themselves for a position, they will do a pitch of less than 2 minutes as to why they should be elected into the positions that they've nominated themselves for. Then we will vote. The eligible voters for today's session include current AIYA directors and current AIYA chapter presidents in both Australia and Indonesia. Then we will have the announcement of those people voted into positions, and then we'll close. So if we go just briefly to the next slide. Yep, next. These are the attendees who are on today's call. I think I can see most people on the line, and hopefully those who are not on can join very soon. And if you go to the next slide. We would also just like to quickly thank all of the national and chapter committee members who are not here on the Zoom call with us today and who may be watching via the YouTube link for basically the dedication that they have given to AIYA. I don't think we would be able to do half of what we do without everybody who's listed on this slide and those who are also not listed on this slide. AIYA is a volunteer organisation and we are built essentially based off the time that people commit to AIYA. So we want to thank everybody who is here today on the call, but also who isn't, just for how much effort that they've put into this organisation. And I will say more sort of towards the end, but I just want to thank each and every one of you for making my presidency, not only over the last 2 years, but over the last 4 years, such a positive part of my life. And yeah, I don't think that, you know, I would be where I am currently basically without AIYA. So I'm really pleased to have been able to work with you all. So without further ado, we'll go, I think, to the secretary address, which is next. Next.
The next slide. One more. Beautiful. Okay. So hi, everyone. Thanks, Clarice, for that. My name is Claudia, if you don't know already, and the secretary portfolio, really briefly. Over the last 2 years, we created a new People and Culture Committee. Both the People Committee and Culture Committee have 4 active members, along with a coordinator who is Beamer. We have hosted an alumni talk under the People Committee, and then also made sure that we know exactly what areas of AIYA we'll be assisting in. For example, the People Committee assists with recruitment, general inductions, exit processes, and missing in action, along with the Culture Committee doing organisational bonding, recognition, feedback, training, and development. We found over the past 2 years that this has actually helped AIYA tremendously in regards to the recruitment process, because it does take a lot for the chapters to hold a recruitment and then to interview everyone and organise all inductions as well. And as well with all the skill building through training and development has assisted internal processes such as proposals and hosting events. With the next slide, please. We also have the Women's Empowerment Committee and Kumpul Committee under the Special Projects team. They were newly established in 2021 when I first started, and at that time had 1 to 2 events each. But as you can see with the graphs, we've actually expanded that and been able to host more events along with more social media posts to create a more informative aspect of each committee. In regards to the policies, in 2021, I finalized the intellectual property policy, and at the moment we are pending amendments to both the privacy policy and bullying and harassment policy to include anything that happens with third parties and what reporting can be done under the bullying and harassment policy. In regards to compliance, we've had successful continuation of AIYA's compliance with ACNC, which is the Charities Commission, along with our annual information statements each year and grant acquittals. We've also assisted Josh in regards to the special projects aspects. In the future, thinking ahead for special projects, I would say between 2021 and 2023, we've had a lot of turnover. So maintaining the team and having a look at the capacity would be most recommended for the upcoming team. And in regards to the PNC team, it has been extremely helpful for the AIYA processes. However, we would like to see a bit more skill building and development, which has been in a lot of the feedback. So thank you very much. I'll pass it on to finance.
Thanks, Claudia. So what we have on the screen right now is just a quick high-level summary of the chapter trust balances as of 30th of June for chapters across Australia and Indonesia. So to summarize, across Australia, we currently hold at a national level just over 19K in trust for chapters, and in Indonesia, about 5K in trust for chapters. So overall, comments on the chapter trust for this financial year are positive. Overall, we've observed a 24% increase in transaction activity across Australia and Indonesian chapters. That probably translates to a higher activity in terms of events, which is a really good outcome. It's in line with the organization growing and expanding to new and different areas. And also what we've seen as well in the last few months is, which is encouraging as well, is an uptick in ticket sales as well across Australia and Indonesia. So we're seeing a bit more ticketing revenue come through our accounts, which is really good. It's a sign that chapters are putting their budget strategies a bit out there and thinking of new and exciting ways to generate a bit of revenue for AIYA, which is really good. Let's look to the next slide now. So before we dive into this one, I guess I just want to highlight from the outset what finance's goals were, I guess, from the very beginning. So Bim and I, we've been manning the finance ship for about 4 years now. We've been working together for 4 years. And from the beginning, we set out to ensure two things. First thing was financial sustainability. So what does that mean? It basically means, us ensuring that the organization's long-term financial survivability, making sure that, AIYA, after we leave, AIYA won't fall into the dust. Not only does it mean survivability though, but it also means that all of the compliance requirements, which are quite, there's quite a large amount involved in meeting all the compliance requirements, making sure that they are met. The second goal was transparent and accurate financial reporting. So what does that mean? It means making sure that we're transparent and clear and accessible in our reporting, not only to our external stakeholders, but also internal as well with the chapters. So I think what we've seen throughout the last 4 years is increased accessibility to the finance team. Bim and I, we're always happy to work with chapters, and we're getting pulled into meetings quite often to work with the chapters on their event budgets and provide that national level consultation. So a few stats, high level stats for you guys before we dive into these numbers. Over the 4 years that Bim and I have been in the finance team, we've reviewed over 400 budget requests. We've participated in about 315 internal meetings, almost 50 external meetings with external stakeholders. We prepared 16 quarters worth of chapter trust statements for chapters across Australia and Indonesia. We've submitted to external stakeholders 12 reports. So they range from either acquittals, applications, other types of reports. We prepared 4 financial years worth of financial statements. We've lodged 4 sets of tax returns, and we participated in the financial management and overall planning of 3 physical congresses and 1 online congress, not to mention all the training days, planning days, etc. So there's been quite a lot involved in those 4 years, and I think coming to the end of it now, I think we've done really great work. Just having a look at one slide back, if we could go back, yep. Having a look at the finances a bit closer. So currently, as of 30 June, we hold about 47K on our balance sheet in cash assets. In terms of the P&L, in 2023, a bit of a difficult environment in regards to grants. You'll note that the grant income this year was nil. However, income was largely offset by other income. So what is bucketed into other income? That's things like DFSL contract income that we've been able to secure, and other sources of income similar to that. So where we're providing some sort of service to an external third party. Membership income in 2023 has also increased as well, which is really good to see. And in terms of expenses, you'll note that Congress is our one big expense. It's our largest expense by and large. So that's including things like accommodation and travel for Congress. The outlook for that isn't as great though in future financial years if we don't secure grant income. So that's probably something to note for the next committee. But overall, the outlook for AIYA is very good, very positive. We've been able to do a lot with the limited resources we have. And yeah, just want to thank everyone for all of their hard work, and thanks for the last 4 years. That's it for me.
Okay, I think we can go over to Dan.
Thanks for the memes, Josh. So I'm just going to do a quick recap of memberships and where we're at there. I think sort of the idea behind these next 2 slides is just to prompt a couple of questions for the incoming directors. I think it's a great opportunity for the new team to come in and lead and take AIYA into greener and better pastures. Not to say that we're not already, but there's some really interesting challenges facing the organization, and opportunities rather than challenges, I should say. One of them you can sort of see here is that since I came in 2019, we managed to step up our membership game from sort of the 300 marks to now consistently more in that 500 range. So that shows up until 2021. And then that little table on the right is our membership now at 2023. I didn't have the time to put in memberships at 2022, but it'll be a similar kind of trend line in the mid 500s at the time. So now there's an interesting moment where, we've kind of consolidated over the last 4 years to have membership in this range. And so a really fun challenge will be, well, what's the next step up? Can we now consistently be in the 600-700 range for the next 4 years? What's the next thing that we can do to step up our memberships at a consistent level? And you can see there across the chapters where most of our members are located. It's not a surprise that they're mostly in the metropolitan cities. And just sort of the question there, I think, is, well, should we have different approaches, different strategies for chapters in different locations? Cities like Melbourne and Sydney arguably can have very similar strategies, but that's very different for, say, Queensland or some of the other chapters where there's kind of like a dual city kind of setup. So that's sort of an interesting prompt that I think we need to work through. We'll go to the next slide. I'm not sure who's driving, Claudia. Thank you. So here we've got sort of the underlying demographics, and so hopefully this is all in the AIYA summary link, and hopefully this is something that we continue to use because it's a great way to have a snapshot of some of the key indicators about our membership. But as I've talked about previously, we're increasingly getting older. An average age of 24 really is the tail end of university. Arguably, it's post-university. So there's an identity challenge there for AIYA, which traditionally has seen itself very much as university students, but on average we're actually a little bit dated and a little bit past that. If we look at the gender balance, we're overwhelmingly sort of female, and if we look at the nationality stats, we're overwhelmingly Indonesian. And I think that's, for me, like one of the most perplexing challenges for us that I haven't got an answer for. Really, the last 10 years of AIYA, we are an Australian organization. You can see that represented in the upper leadership of AIYA, which has been consistently Australian. Our rules and regulations are consistently based on Australian laws and not Indonesian laws. And our bank account's obviously located in Australia. And there's, I think, a disconnect there then with our grassroots memberships, which is overwhelmingly Indonesian now. And that's a fun challenge to think about how we kind of align things. And hopefully a little challenge in the future for our directors is to see many, many more Indonesian volunteers step up into those leadership positions. So that's it from me, and we'll carry on to the next person.
Angie, I think it's comms.
Yep. Yep. So I'll just do a summary over my just my 2 years. I'm a Berber in this apart from Claudia. But yeah, so I got in 2021. I think the first thing that we did was we got rid of the video team. So they were supposed to be going and in charge of all the footage from the other chapters and putting sort of footage together. But I think especially with COVID hitting, it seemed quite redundant. So we took them out. One of my big things was try to make AIYA image and sort of target the youth, younger demographic of the youth more. So we opened the TikTok, and then we had recruitment of our social media and graphic design coordinator. So that's Rosie and Icy, who have been amazing. And then we had a minor restructure with the last comms director's help, where we sort of put the AIYA links under the publishing coordinator, and then rebranded the graphic design coordinator as more of a branding and creative coordinator. And yeah, and then in 2021 to about now, like the other directors, it's been a lot of coordinating and readjusting post-COVID and figuring out people's capabilities, availability. And so we've had a bit like recruitment and a lot of turnover as well, just like the other teams. So we've had sort of like a new cycle of social media officers, a lot more people in AIYA Links, and also people in our blog team, and basically all our teams at graphics as well. And then this year we also recruited Ashton for our publishing coordinator very recently. And from our last Congress, not this year, but the one before that, there was feedback on changing date for the AIYA Links. So that was changed. And I think it's been pretty handy, especially for the links officers, in terms of getting enough information from the week summarized from before for AIYA Links. And I think overall my focus over my time being director was implementing systems that were a bit more self-sufficient, that only required the coordinators to be the ones to manage, initiate, and encourage the officers to work sort of independently and with the team as well, so based on their flexibility and their availability. So that allowed people to sort of adjust based on their priorities outside of AIYA. And I think the system's been going pretty well. I think from here, it's just more maintaining what we have, and if there's any holes and ways to improve from here to keep the content going and keep the image of AIYA alive and hitting our target audience. I think that would be great. Yes, next slide, please. So just a few stats. I'm obviously not a tables or graphics person, so it's very simple. But I think our biggest milestone is that we've hit 5,000 followers. Big thanks to the social media team. Especially it happens, I notice, around recruitment. We get reshared and we get a lot of engagement from especially Indonesian social media, youth platforms that promote us as a volunteering opportunity, and that increases our followers, and we get a lot more engagement and interaction. And now it's not even like just over half a year, and we're almost at 6,000 now, which is great. It's from the stats, most of our followers are from Indonesia, especially Jakarta, and we have been sort of hitting our target demographic from 18 to 24 and 25 to 34. We obviously have more engagement from women, but it's not like drastically too many women. It's just 64%. And I think everyone, especially with over COVID and the fact that we had to depend on social media and staying online, have built a good following over time. And especially with the smaller chapters, so like 500 plus is not a small number at all, especially for a small chapter. And yeah, also like to thank everyone and for the board for being very welcoming to me, made a lot of good memories. And it's been a great experience being a comms director, and also to my whole, my billion teams and all my social media, media officers for doing the groundwork and keeping the machine going for comms for AIYA. So thank you.
All right,
Great.
on to ops.
Yeah.
Yes. So operations has been a really busy time the past 2.5 years that I've been director. So in operations, we not only do whole of AIYA events like Congress across both Jakarta and somewhere in Australia, like Sydney or Melbourne. We also do digital operations and chapter operations. So over there, you see a photo of all of us in Melbourne at Congen that was doing Congress in Melbourne. Other kind of key highlights are the 17 and Kartini Trivia Nights that digital operations holds, as well as annual events with partner organizations such as Value Learning, in which we have been organizing about 2 or 3 events with them each year, even during COVID when they switched to online. Next slide. So 2020 saw the birth of digital operations, and it has been 3 years now. It's really incredible to think of how far the team has come. Post-COVID, we have continued to host digital events while thinking about how we can create more value for participants. So we have done our own kind of standalone events. And we have also done hybrid events like Sabtu Productive with Catalyst. However, we've also done a lot of collaborations, for example, with the PNC team to host internal skill building workshops and social nights. And we have collaborated with AIYA chapters for Flex. And our success in the digital team can be seen through Eventbrite, where we have clearly engaged a lot more followers in the past year. And I think the goal for the digital operations team looking forward is how to keep engaging a big number of AIYA members and how to create more value for them. Now moving on to chapter operations. We've got so many different event highlights. So we've got so many kind of different events that chapters hold, not only professional networking nights like the one that you see in this photo. So this was from AIYA Vic and AIYA Nationals Asia Australia Youth Diplomacy Networking Night. But we also hold gala dinners. New South Wales and Jogja have hosted theirs, and AIYA ACT is hosting one in September. But we also do lots of cultural events and sporting events. So a huge shout out to all the chapters for all your hard work in the past few years. So I just really want to conclude by thanking all the coordinators, Rita, Kansa, and Jade back then, and just for all your hard work, Kazimi as well. It's been amazing working with all of you, and yeah, I really look forward to seeing what other events the digital team and the chapter team can create. Thank you.
Great, thank you. I think Nyla next.
Cool. Hi everyone. I'm Jade, and Addie's also here. Those that don't know, it's NAILA, the National Australia-Indonesia Language Awards. Last year, we held our first in-person award ceremony in Melbourne since COVID, so it was really exciting to see that come up again. Last year we had over 150 submissions, which is really, really good considering COVID kind of, lost that motivation of doing anything. So it was really, really good to see that number. And thanks to Addie, we have implemented our new website that's up and running. This allowed, our people to easily find things and make it a bit more user-friendly. And hopefully this year, we're planning to have the award ceremony in Sydney, because in the past we've always had it in Melbourne, and we thought we would change it up a little bit. And so far, our NAILA committee team has really expanded, and I think Addie and I are really, really happy to get new, fresh faces come on board. And I think Addie and I can say thank you to all our committee members. We really appreciate your passion. And kind of like AIYA with the finance stuff, due to the whole grant opportunities being limited, our finance kind of future is a little bit, I guess, scary. So I think our partnerships team is very, very strong, and we're going to try our best to find other income grants rather than AII. And our comms team, as you all know, is really, really active on our Instagram. Christina, Kim, and Tom, they've all in Melbourne, and they, meet each other in person and create content. Thank you, Darcy and Em, for helping. And it's been really, really good to see that happening. So yeah, that is all from us, unless Addie, you have anything else to add. But yeah.
Great. Thank you so much, Jade. And thank you everybody for your portfolio recaps. I do apologize that we've had to really condense these recaps, and each director could probably go on for a very long time about all of the things that all of their teams have achieved. But we are really here for the exciting part of this meeting. So if we go to the next slide, the election. So I would like to show you the slide where we have the names of the nominees. Next. So nominated for the position of National President, we have Claudia Wijaya and Matthew Hashim. Company Secretary, we have a nomination for Wisnu Trianugraha, or Wes, as everybody else will know him. For Director of Operations, we have Adila Salma Khansa and Matthew Hashim again. For Director of Partnerships and Memberships, we have Darcy Murphy. And for Director of Communications, we have Rosie Murphy, not related to each other. I would just like to make a note that we have reached quorum for this meeting. So we had a minimum number of 12 eligible voters from the National Council that had to attend. And we have all 18 members. So thank you everybody for logging on to this call. So now what we'll do is we'll actually allow each of those people nominated on the screen to pitch as to why they should be selected for the position or positions that they have nominated themselves for. So we might actually start with Matt, considering that Matt has nominated himself for 2 positions. So Ria, I don't know if you can spotlight Matt perhaps.
I think it's automatic when it starts talking. I don't know.
Oh, really? Matt,
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Over to you, Matt. You have 2 minutes to pitch why you should be the AIYA National President. And then following that, you have another 2 minutes if you need to pitch why you should be the Director of Operations. Or you can change the order depending on which you prefer. So over to you.
Oh, okay, cool. I'll start my stopwatch. So hi, I'm Matthew, and I'd like to highlight my experience, semangat, and vision that I'll bring to AIYA if successful. So firstly, since 2016, I've been actively involved in the Indonesian community. Spent 4 years in AIYA New South Wales as a VP and Pres, worked for 4 years at an Indonesian travel agency in Sydney with Indo customers. I'm currently at a New South Wales government property development arm, so I'm gaining cross-cultural communication skills and managing intergovernment relations. In my position, I've collaborated with other chapters in Indo and Australia for large online events, which include Mon Trivia with Victoria and multiple language exchanges with other Indo chapters. And at a national level, I've hosted numerous skills workshops and made contributions on AIYA policies and some on memorandum of understandings with AIYA. My semangat and vision lies within enhancing Aussie-Indo relations. Last year in New South Wales, I've started an Indonesian Studies Working Group, which collaborates with various organizations and schools to promote Indonesian in New South Wales. And last month, I organized an Indonesian Action Day, which engaged over 120 school students alongside 50 volunteers, the consulate and SBS Indonesia, which we secured $2,000 in funding from the University of Sydney for. If I'm successful, I plan to reach out to educational and governmental institutions in both countries to advocate for issues aligning with AIYA's core values. So one of these include addressing the decline of Indonesian studies in Australia, but also encouraging educational exchanges between the two nations in Indonesia as well. And I've already made some of these connections due to my work. I'm already involved in another working group that's hosted by Investment New South Wales in Sydney. So lastly, I think rejuvenating AIYA's core membership is very crucial. And I think with my experience in managing AIYA New South Wales's membership system, I promise to implement a national membership reminder email system within 10 days, not 10 weeks, not 10 months, 10 days of receiving access to MailChimp. And remember, we will not die. Moving on to operations. So if by that, with operations, one of the main key points is to organize and oversee the implementation of AIYA initiatives at a national chapter level. I've been there, I've been at the chapter level for 4 years, and I've been involved in some national discussions as well. So I already have that bridge and that connection between the two. One of the main roles as well is to oversee the events approval process. Last year, or the year before, I did host the events approval workshop for national, and I've done plenty of them in my time at the chapter level. I've done so many event approvals as well. I've also gone through a lot of inductions processes. So to recruit and induct operations coordinators, I think would be quite easy for someone with my experience. I know that Director of Operations also needs to oversee the planning of AIYA Congress. I was involved in some of that planning when it was in Sydney, but we do also need to balance the financial viability with the benefits of Congress. Again, with chapter coordinator, chapter president inductions, I've been there. I've inducted lots of fellow chapter vice presidents as well. And lastly, I'll of course advocate the interests of chapters at the national level. I've been the strongest advocate at the chapter level. I've been getting myself involved with national level policies and issues as a chapter president. And I've gone through lots of I've done lots of big collaborations with other chapters for digital digital events. And
okay, time is up. Thank you,
that's it.
Matt.
Thank you. Sorry.
No worries. Great. Great summary of why you should be selected as national president or as director of operations. So the next candidate we have, next candidate we have for national president is Claudia.
Thank you. So hi, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. So a little bit about myself is that I started as a New South Wales communications officer, and then I became the National Company Secretary over the past 2 years. So I believe a president requires patience, understanding, delegating tasks, and active warehouse skills, which I feel I've demonstrated so far. And being a director has been very beneficial to understand the internal processes of AIYA at both the national and chapter level. So I've developed and edited AIYA policies. I'm used to the constant online meetings with different time zones and can host events confidently, such as the Congress dinner. And as the one who took meeting minutes, I recorded every portfolio's work, allowing me to gain extensive knowledge of AIYA, which is extremely necessary in the president position. In regards to operations, as part of both the Indonesian and Australian president's group chats, I've seen how both our DigiOps and in-person events are run, the collaboration potential, and the focus on students to learn Indonesian to make sure we don't die. I've learned a lot from Josh about AIYA's current financial situation, the importance of grants, and what opportunities there are to raise AIYA's finances. Therefore, I successfully initiated the partnership alongside Kaz, Josh, and Dan with the Indo-Aus Stay Exchange program to ensure a new way AIYA can gain revenue. In regards to memberships, I understand memberships have been a bit more stagnant. Therefore, through my work in PNC and multiple discussions with AIYA members, I found AIYA members want 4 main things, which include professional networking, socializing, cultural learning, and food, which we can definitely focus more events on. I've had experience as a communications officer, but also seen the organization of the AIYA Annual, contributed to blogs, and know the comms policy back to front. I attended the NILA Awards ceremony last year and got to see exactly the range of skills, age groups, and importance of the Indonesian language in school. So these next 2 years would be absolutely perfect timing as AIYA National President, as I've just moved to Jogja, Indonesia 2 days ago, as I will be studying and interning for the next year. And then I'll be back in Sydney for the following year. So within my 2 years as potential AIYA National President, I will literally fulfill the Australia, Indonesian, and if you couldn't tell, youth. Therefore, I hope you consider me as your next AIYA National President, as I have insight from all profiles of AIYA, revealing the gaps that I hope to assist in filling. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Claudia. Right on time. Okay, we might actually go to Kansa next, seeing as Matt has already given his pitch for Director of Operations. So our other candidate for Director of Operations is Kansa.
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. My name is Kansa, and I'm here today to express my interest in the AIYA Directors of Operations position. I've been with AIYA for 4 years, and during that time, I have held a variety of positions, both in national and also chapter level, and all of them are under the operations portfolio. And my current role is as the digital operations coordinator, and I've been in this role for 2.5 years. And I have proven a track record of success in managing online and offline events in AIYA. And I also have a deep understanding of the AIYA ecosystem, how things work in chapter level and also in national level. And my biggest achievement in AIYA is leading the digital operations team from organizing 0 event excluding flags for the first 6 months of its formations to holding 6 events per year excluding flags. And I think the most rewarding part for me is being able to create a good environment for the team to grow a deep sense of belonging and also commitments that leads to remarkable performance and notably low turnover of the committee members. And that's how we can go from 0 to 6 initiative events per year. And moreover, project management is also something that I do professionally at AJGS as a program assistant for study tours and intensive program. I'm experienced in organizing virtual and in-country programs. Both in AJGS and AIYA, my work requires me to coordinating with various stakeholders, managing timelines, and also ensuring smooth execution. And if I'm elected to be the Director of Operations, I know that I have a big shoes to fill after Emily, but I will make sure to continue her legacy and her works, especially on the declining of Indonesian studies in Australia and also fostering more collaborations between chapters, national, and other stakeholders in order to achieve AIYA's vision to connect, inform, and inspire. Thank you so much.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Kansa. Okay, our next candidate is for the position of Company Secretary. So can I call Wes to provide his pitch?
Hi, hello. Can you all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Just want to apologize in advance. I'm currently at a cafe, so if there's a lot of background noises. But yeah, so basically, I guess it's a bit of an introduction of myself. So my name is Vishnu or Wes. So today I would like to nominate myself as AIYA's next Company Secretary. And so for me personally, Company Secretary's primary task is to manage and oversee AIYA's internal policy and compliance, as well as to a certain degree, supervise event organizations, because we do have the special projects portfolio as well. And so not only that I have professional experience in implementing company compliance through my line of work in financial compliance, I've also held multiple positions in AIYA from chapter to national levels. And so for those of you who don't know yet, so I started as a member from the South Australia, at the South Australia chapter, moved on to Jogja chapter as a committee member, as well as chapter president, eventually to Jakarta as VP, and then to national as operations coordinator under Emily, and now currently volunteering as one of the people officers under Claudia. And so because of that, I feel like I have a lot of breadth of experience from all of the positions and portfolio in AIYA. And even though I've never actually formally held any position within the comms and membership, as well as, so comms and membership and partnership. So I've also done work that could be classified under this portfolio, such as drafting social media posts, translating blog posts, managing Jogja's Instagram and Facebook accounts from way back when, engaging with external stakeholders to acquire partnership for local events, as well as standing by on multiple AIYA booths in different university events in both Australia and Indonesia to acquire more members. And in terms of policy work itself, I've actually helped with the editing and translations of AIYA's original policies from back in 2017, 2018, and also drafted and continuously revised the People and Culture Portfolio's SOP, specifically on the end-to-end recruitment process. And so this position basically allows me to understand various AIYA internal SOPs specific to each portfolio. And it also means that I've demonstrated a lot of my capacity to organize events under the banner of AIYA and also NALA as well. And so please do, I would like to, giving the opportunity to contribute to AIYA. Sorry, thank you.
Thank you so much, Wes. That was really great. So our next candidate is for Director of Partnerships and Membership. So over to you, Darcy.
Hello, everyone. My name is Darcy Murphy, and I'd like to nominate myself for the position of Director of Partnerships and Memberships. Apologies if I am not as good a rapper as everyone else has been so far. My words will not be as quick nor as fast. So yes, I'm Darcy. I'm currently an Indonesian teacher in Melbourne. I have been volunteering with AIYA for the past 5 years in various capacities, ranging from chapter level as an education officer, moving up to national as a digital operations coordinator, or the inaugural digital operations coordinator, Oz Ops coordinator, as well as a language coordinator at NALA. I am also currently a memberships officer with AIYA National. So that is why I'm applying for Director of Partnerships. It's sort of the natural progression. So I have a breadth and depth of knowledge regarding the organization, which I think will serve me well as Director of Partnerships and Memberships, as maintaining long-standing partnerships would be vital to the role. As an Indonesian teacher, it's kind of vital that my students sort of have a community to sort of expand and move on into after school, sort of as opportunities. So people keep picking my subject so that I stay in the job. So I'm sort of motivated to maintain and expand the organization. And I have been working with Dan for the past 6 months as memberships officer. So I really think I've been looped in with a lot of the partnerships and the membership struggles and the opportunities outlined by Dan previously, and look forward to potentially being able to address them. Thank you for your time. And also, I am not related to Rosie Murphy. Just thought I'd put that out there before anyone asks. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Darcy. Noted on not being related to each other. So I guess without further ado, we'll hand over to Rosie Murphy, who is our nominee for Director of Communications.
Hello, everyone. My name is Rosie, also not related to Darcy, and I'm running for the position of Communications Director. I've been involved in AIYA since 2019, starting as a comms officer for a year, and then joined AIYA National as the Communications Coordinator for social media in 2021. I currently work as the Marketing Coordinator for international internships, helping to promote internships in Indonesia for Australian university students. I also work as a digital marketing consultant for Value Learning, who facilitates IAP, and Mosaic Connections, who runs RMEP and AMAP. My passion lies within the Australia-Indonesia space, and I'm really excited to grow and contribute my skills from this to AIYA further. My connection to Indonesia started in high school learning Indonesian and continued to grow through my university studies and also many travel trips to Indonesia. During my studies, I was a part of a TITIS, and in 2021, I was a delegate for the Australia-Indonesia Youth Exchange Program. As the Communications Director, I would love to follow in Angi's footsteps and continue to grow the communications area like she has done. My vision for AIYA Comms is to have a large, consistent team with a range of skills and keep it self-sustainable like it's been. I hope to bring each sector together to get to know each other a bit more, and keep our volunteers feeling heard, valued, and respected. I'm really excited to expand AIYA's presence, including TikTok, once we have the human resources to do so. I think we have room for potential communications partnerships in order to grow AIYA's presence in the Australia-Indonesia space and also to encourage more youth to become engaged. I think this starts with a strong team of passionate people, and I'd also like to implement more workshops to ensure that the chapters feel supported and have the chance to develop their skills further. I believe that due to my passion for the Australia-Indonesia space and my skills in communications and marketing, that I would be the right candidate for this position. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Rosie. So everybody congratulate all of the nominees for the positions. They've done a really great job, and it's been a bit of an extensive process to get to this stage, including having to write an application to the current national board as to why they should be nominated, and they've undergone an interview process, and then finally today's AGM. So it has been several sort of weeks, if not months in the making for those on the call. So we thank everybody for putting up a nomination for the positions we see on the screen today. So now we're getting to the very exciting part of today's AGM, and that is the voting. So we can go to the next slide. So I would just like to reiterate, back one. Yeah, I would just like to reiterate that only National Council members can vote, and I've conveniently put all of the National Council members into a WhatsApp chat, so nobody else has access to the voting form. National Council members are current AIYA directors and current AIYA chapter presidents. So if you are not an AIYA director or a chapter president, I'm very sorry, but you will not be able to vote. So for those National Council members, you will now see that there is a Google form in the chat. So please go to that link and place your vote in. For the positions that have multiple candidates, you'll be able to pick one of the candidates, and for the position that only has one nominee, you can agree or disagree to that nomination. So we'll give everybody a couple of minutes to fill that in. Thank you. Okay, thank you everybody for placing in your vote. I would just like to state that for the position of Director of Operations, we actually have a tie. So we're going to have to redo that. Give me 2 minutes to make a Google form. And after that, Kansa and Matt, I'm going to get you to redo your pictures and we're going to vote again. So bear with me. Actually, why don't you do your pictures while I create the Google form? So Josh, can you keep a time for Matt? And then please do Kansa while I create the
Just
Google
one thing,
form.
because I also applied for president, like if, would it be okay to see the results of that one first? So that like if I was successful in that one, then I wouldn't need to apply for ops. Or
does everybody want me to tell you what the results are for president then? Yes.
Yes.
The next AIYA National President is Claudia Wijaya.
Ooh, congratulations.
Thanks, guys.
So yes, you can still nominate yourself for Director of Operations if you wish, Matt. So Matt, do you want to do your pitch first?
All right, 1 second.
I'll give you like a minute, Matt, just to collect your thoughts. I'm sure you've got a lot going through your mind right now, so I'll give you a minute.
Thank you. All right, let's go.
Okay, great. So I'll give both yourself and Kanza another 2 minutes each to present again. Matt, you're going first. I'll start the clock now and take it away.
Hi, everyone. I'm Matthew. I think we've gotten to know each other. I'll just reiterate again. So since 2016, I've been quite active in the Indonesian community. I've spent 4 years in AIYA New South Wales, 2 as president and 2 as vice president. I think I'll be great in overseeing and overarching the AIYA initiatives at a national and chapter level. I'm good with the events approvals processes from chapters and national teams. I've hosted MailChimp workshops in the past, and I was a facilitator for the AIYA Skills workshop in 2023, which included a quick rundown on the events approvals process. And I've made contributions as well to the AIYA national stage there. In terms of recruiting and inducting operations coordinators and working with chapter coordinators to induct chapter presidents, I'm quite experienced in that through my 4 years at an executive level and the chapter level. So I've had to go on through multiple chapter committees and rotations and changes. I love to oversee the planning of the next Congress AIYA, maybe in Bali, who knows, but that'll need to balance out the financial viability with the benefits of Congress, as it is our major expense. I'll be good with working with the chapter coordinators. I'll be good with advocating for the interests of the chapters at the national level, because I myself, as a chapter president for the past 2 years, have always been that big voice, that advocate for the chapters at the national level, and I'm already that bridge in between chapter and national. I'll make sure that we will not die. In terms of online collaborations, I've done plenty with other chapters in Indo, and I'll make sure to note key dates for IT and website matters to ensure that AIYA systems are always kept running. And that's 2 minutes. Thank you so much.
Matt. Thank you. Amazing. Thank you for that. Kanza, are you prepared to present for 2 minutes?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, great. Thanks for that. Okay.
Great.
All right, I'll hand it over to you now.
Yes, thanks, Josh. And hi again, everyone. And I'd like to reiterate what I was saying previously, that I've been in AIYA for 4 years, and I started as the sociocultural officer in AIYA Jogja, and then changed to education officer in AIYA Jogja, and then become the digital educations officer, and then the digital operations coordinator. So all of those positions are under the operations portfolio, and that's why I think that I will be a good candidate for the director of operations, because I already know how things works in chapter level and also in national level, and then all of the things that we do in operations, like the approval process and stuff, and I'm already familiar with that, and also the project management skills. I gained the skills from the professional work that I do at HHS, and also from the experience that I had in AIYA. So again, in digital operations, we've created 6 digital events per year from 0. And then the next year, we also have like 6 events. So I was able to maintain that achievement for the next year. And also, I'd like to reiterate that I was like successful in creating a good environment for my team to grow, and also to grow their commitment, so that
That's time, Kansa.
yep. Okay.
Great, thank you for that.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks Kansa and Matt for presenting a second time. Might ask Clarice if
Yep.
the voting form is ready.
It is ready. So I'm going to
Perfect.
post that again in the National Council chat. So you guys can vote now. We're still waiting on 2 people to vote. Okay, so that is the vote completed, and the result is the next Director of Operations is Matthew Hashim. Congratulations, Matt.
Thanks, and yeah, commiserations, Kansa. Is that the first time we've ever had a tie?
I think so. And well done to Kansa for the pitch that you made for Director of Operations. Yeah, I thought you had a lot of really good ideas. So yeah, so we can also switch to the next slide because I can say that, oh, why has that not updated? Maybe refresh. It should have updated with the nominations. Anyway, I can also say that majority of voters agreed with the nomination of Wes as Company Secretary, Darcy as Director of Partnerships and Memberships, and Rosie as Director of Communications. So congratulations to you guys too. So thank you so much. And if we go to 2 slides, one more ahead, we would like to announce the nomination for the position of National Treasurer. Now, those of you who have attended an AGM before or been a little bit familiar with the process of the nomination for the National Treasurer would realise that the National Treasurer does not get elected. That position is actually goes through a selection process with the National Board. We received several applications for the position of National Treasurer, and those people also submitted their CVs and basically a response to the key selection criteria. And they also went through an interview process, which was led by Josh as current National Treasurer. And we would like to announce that Kat Bima has been selected as the National Treasurer for the next period. So Bima, I don't know if you would like to say a couple of words about your nomination.
Yeah, probably I'll just introduce myself, not in 2 minutes, but in 20 seconds, I think. Yeah, so hello everyone, my name is Bima Arina and I live in Perth at the moment and currently studying Master of Business Psychology at the UWA. And I was a finance officer for almost 4 years, and I also helped people and culture portfolio as a coordinator. And hopefully I can maintain a good position of AIYA's finance, and I'm very excited to work with others as a newly elected AIYA treasurer.
Yay, we're really excited that you have been nominated, Bima. Bima has been the AIYA National Finance Officer for the past 4 years. So he's worked very closely with Josh during that period, and he's very, very familiar with all of the AIYA finance processes. All of the chapter presidents will have had contact with Bima at some stage, particularly the Indonesian chapter presidents. So it won't come as a surprise that Bima has naturally progressed, I would say, to the position of National Treasurer. So that brings us to the end of the AGM. I would like to thank everybody for their participation, and thank you also to those of you who are watching online via the YouTube link. For me personally, it's been such an amazing journey in AIYA. I've spent the last 10 years of my life in AIYA in some way, shape or form, as a member, as a chapter committee member, in the national team, starting out as the operations coordinator for Indonesia, and then ops director, and then national president. So it's been a really, really long journey, and I really want to thank everybody who I've had the pleasure of working with over that period. The current AIYA directors have been so good to me, and I really couldn't have done my job properly without you guys. All of the chapter presidents, you guys have been amazing, and I know how hard it is to coordinate teams at the chapter level. So I want to thank you guys so much as well. And don't worry, while I won't have a formal role in AIYA anymore, I will always stay engaged with you guys, and you can always reach out to me whenever you need. So don't stress too much. I'm still here. So thank you all so much. And yeah, that's it. And see you all later at the next AGM in 2 years. And congratulations to those of you who have been elected into your current position. So good luck, guys. Semangat.
Thanks, Clarice. I just quickly want to say something. So I just want to say on behalf of everyone at AIYA and to the outgoing board of directors, thank you. So I've just sent you all emails with an attached card from all of us at AIYA. Clarice, you've also got a little AIYA gift on your table last night. For those who don't know, as Clarice said, Clarice has been with AIYA for over 10 years, Emily 7 years, Dan 6 years, Josh 5 years, and Angie 4 years. So personally, thank you for passing on your knowledge and wisdom. Clarice, you've left extremely big shoes to fill. Josh, you are the money king and do a lot that we don't even understand most of the time. Emily, you are always approachable and conduct yourself in such a humble manner. Angie, we appreciate your memes and TikToks. Dan, thank you for being the devil's advocate we need to consider things that we wouldn't have thought about. So throughout these past few years, I think we can all agree that everyone has contributed so much time, hard work, and dedication to AIYA, which we are forever grateful for. So we wish you the best of luck with everything in your future, and we'll see you as the next speaker at one of our events. Thank you. That's it. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Rio, I think we can stop the live stream.
Yep.
Good, beautiful. All right. Thanks, guys. I will